two things that I guess I'd start out with. Something's bouncing back at me here. Anyway, the two things I mentioned today, one is, as I'm sure you know, the budget subs are going to meet today and start passing out at least some form of the budget bills, at least for this first half of the budget that they revealed to us. There will not be any open votes today on any of those budgets, partly because we haven't seen the whole budget, partly because there's only three things we know about the budget for sure. One, it spends more money than what the state's taking in. Two, that it's going to end up raising property taxes, and Democrat leaders have effectively indicated that by telling us they're going to underfund K-12, and lastly is they're underfunding Medicaid. So anyway, those are moving, and again, there will be no Republican votes on those things today. The other thing I just thought I'd mention, I don't know if any of you made it to the Economic Growth Committee yesterday. I know I mentioned it several weeks ago that we were going to invite employers in to talk about some of the things the state could do that would not cost the state money, but would yet be an encouragement to them to invest in the state, make it easier to function in the state. Those were in yesterday. I think the biggest message is that from what was passed to me that came out of that is they really would appreciate the state getting out of their way, stopping to talk about, and they brought this up, this is not my stuff, and nor did I talk to them ahead of time. Stop talking about prevailing wage, stop talking about appeal right to work, stop talking about federal deductibility, and let us have some consistency and be able to plan moving forward. So, you know, that was, I just thought that was interesting, so I thought I'd mention that.
Can I just follow up real quick?
Yeah.
What was your understanding of how much they're planning to underfund K-12? Is that just a follow through with the governor's recommendation?
The K-12 for fiscal year 11, I believe the number is $170 million.
How much they're underfunding?
Underfunding, which if, as a percentage of property tax receipts, that's just a tick under 5%, if I remember right when I did the math. So that, again, potentially close to a 5% property tax increase on that decision alone.
I would just say we're finishing week 7 of the legislature. We have yet to talk about any substantive savings in the budget, a reasonable budget. We have 110,000 Iowans out of work. We've not talked about anything to do to put Iowans back to work, and we continue to see property tax increases pushed on the local property taxpayers, as outlined by Kraig. Iowans are concerned. They're upset. Not just upset. They're scared. I've had several business folks through my offices in the past 2 weeks, and they can't believe that we're not addressing many of the issues that prevent them from adding jobs in the state. So we continue on spending money and pushing property taxes on the local property taxpayers.
Do you feel like you're going to be celebrating the death of the labor bills next week?
Well, I hope that the labor bills will be effectively, off the table or dead next week. Time will tell about that. It's my understanding right now that there are not enough votes to move those bills, but a day is actually 2 legislative lifetimes, it seems like, and so we'll keep our eyes open on those things.
What's going to happen with the texting bill when it gets back to the House?
I don't know. That'll be interesting. I don't know that they made it any better. I don't know that they made it any worse. And I'm not even saying it's necessarily a bad idea. I obviously didn't support it and vote for it on the floor, but many of my members did. But I don't think that bill puts any Iowans back at work, which is where we really need to be putting our attention.
Are you concerned with civil liberties in terms of people reading text messages in their car and what that giving law enforcement officers another reason to pull you over?
Well, I'm always concerned about just liberties in general, especially now in my 8th year. I get awful tired of telling people how to live their lives after a while. And I will tell you, I still think it's not a particularly well-drafted bill. Nor do I think it's really going after where the most significant part of the problem is, and that is any distracted driving, and especially with regard to those who are on graduated driver's licenses.
Some of your members, though, made the most passionate pleas to adopt that. I'm thinking of May and Heaton, you know, and the reading component included, which is what the Senate added.
Oh, absolutely, and I will have members who are gonna be very pleased about that. I'm just telling you from a personal opinion, I don't know that it makes it better or worse, because I think the whole bill's, from my perspective, again, kind of a miss anyway.
But your whole caucus is not united in their view on this bill?
No, there's no caucus position or anything in this